Alright guys, today we could be sitting here having a discussion about Pokemon investing. We could be talking about the top 5 Pokemon products to purchase right here, right now, right? For investment purposes. We could be talking about the Pokemon market, or we have a new set, Ancient Origins, coming out here in just a couple weeks, and we could be doing a little bit of a set breakdown. But today, I feel like doing something a little bit different. I don't know if it's my attitude or my train of thought right now seems to be going back in history in the past of my life, and with everything that's happening in the Pokemon market, I feel that this is a good time to reflect on that because I know not everybody has been in a good place. Not everybody ended up in the right spot and in the upper part of this trajectory of the market. Some people got caught up in the bad side of things. Some people got caught in the wrong end of the deals where they came in too late and purchased too high, and now the products are really low and they can't move them. They're in the long waiting game, and some people are just getting frustrated and leaving the hobby, of course. We're seeing quite a bit of that. We're seeing some LGSs starting to fold up. One of my local ones that opened up about 2 years ago is now starting to close up. They just announced that they will be shutting their doors due to the fact that they no longer can sell products at a premium. This is something we're going to continually see, and as that members of this community, I feel that this is an opportunity for me to open up a little bit about my past. Why I'm conservative about things, why I really tell you to budget things, and why I really do push don't use credit cards and don't put high debt on yourself without unsubstantiated funds. These are all important figures of my channel and what I really preach and what I really tell you guys when you're investing in Pokemon or working with the Pokemon market. Be sure you're staying safe. Make sure it's expendable money. Make sure you don't get in places that you can't make moves to get out of it. Try to be sure that you understand the market. Be sure that you understand where things are going. So today I'm going to go back in my past and open up about something that happened to me. And I don't want you to be discouraged by this, and I hope you don't leave the channel because of this, because you hear some of the things I'm about to say. But this is my past, and this is my experiences. And the reason I'm doing this is to just discuss going through adversity, going through hard times, and coming out on the other side a better person with a better understanding. So just to start off everything and to go back on myself, this is where it all started. So when I got out of school, I personally right now run a business. I run our HVAC business. We run a farm, big farm with my brother and father. We run a 200 to 300 head dairy. And then my wife and I also have a farm, smaller one. It's a subsidiary or under the umbrella of the big farm where we sell produce, poultry, eggs, and do those kind of things inside the market also. So we kind of branched out and diversified in the farm. We also just have our stable business with the HVAC side of things. We also do this YouTube. My wife does the small businesses with GetWorks and Pampered Chef. So we've got a multitude of different things that we do that we definitely are busy. We're very business orientated people. I grew up in a very business orientated family. My grandfather owned a business. My father owned a business. I own a business. It's just natural for us to do that. And I know a lot of people are sitting there going, well, what does this have to do with adversity and failure? And the fact of the matter is that even myself, we've gone through this. Starting back in 2013, I lived in Colorado. I was working as a mold maker. When I got out of college, I kind of bucked the family business and became a machinist because I do enjoy programming. I enjoy the challenge of machining. I love working with the tight tolerances and creating things from metal, plastics, or even some of the brasses and coppers. I think it's a lot of fun to do that. But what happened is that I was out there and I started the business in 2013 as a machinist. I purchased a machine with a small micro lending company. Found one that was really supportive, gave us some really great tools with like a small business building up. They gave us access to QuickBooks, to training to use the QuickBooks in order to use the software. They gave us funding in order to learn business techniques on our whatever process we were looking at, so the machining side. And I got into it really heavy with some friends that were working with precision rifles. We were making precision AR-15s and AR-10s. They were taking them to big competitions such as Mammoth and some of these large competitions around the United States. I was doing a lot of local shooting and getting a lot of locals on board for buying these precision rifles. And I built precision uppers and lowers along with a lot of the accessories that go with it. So as time went on and we went about a year, if everybody remembers, Sandy Hook happened right there at that time frame too. So fast forward 2 years, machining's going great. We're maxed out our machine. I can't keep up with the firearm side of the thing and the small part side that I picked up because I was trying to diversify the business, make sure that I wasn't just doing one thing, because just like I talk about here in the Pokemon realm, diversification is the key. You can't just focus on one item, because if that one item doesn't make it, then you're stuck with nothing. If you diversify, at least you have options to get out of it, or understand how to diversify from a sealed product like you see behind me into singles or even into packs, whatever's desirable in that market. So I was diversifying the business and I needed another machine. So my garage wasn't big enough to do that. There wasn't enough space to bring in employees or the materials that were required to do that. So I found a rental place. We worked through our micro lender one more time. We expanded our loan back up to doubling the loan because we got a bigger machine. We already bought the side equipment such as saws, bought materials, racks, things that we needed in order to perform our job the best that we could at the quality. We were a big quality group. We ran everything on probing with quality, making sure that we kept up, and we did extremely well. Now you're sitting there thinking, why? You sounds like your business was doing fantastic. Why is this a failure in an adversity speech? Well, when we got a little bit longer down the road, our micro lender decided that they were going to expand into SBA loans, and that's a federally ran program that gives them the ability to get out of loans. So if one of us were to fail, a small business that they sponsored were to fail, they would not have to come up with all the money when they failed. The federal government would subsidize some of that loss, and it was a safety net for the micro lender, which I understand. It's a great plan if you're a micro lender to get that. The one thing that happened and under that administration that really sucked is that in order to get that part of it, they had to remove anything that had to do with firearms inside of their business. And this is where I always have a trust issue with banks and having unsubstantiated debt. Putting a lot of that stuff out there is the difficulty of trying to reorganize and get out of that debt in an emergency situation. So this is where the adversity and the bad side of the business came. It didn't come because we were failing because of non-production. It wasn't because we were failing because we didn't have work. It started to fail because we got a letter from our bank or lender that in 30 days all account would be made due, which means they were canceling our loan and forcing us to make the full payment on that loan in 30 days. Now, imagine being a business owner that's being successful and getting this notification with no reason whatsoever. We didn't miss payments. We didn't have any problems with that. We were ahead on payments. We were making everything go forward. We were having good business. Our projections were fantastic. So there was no reason to be getting this notification. So, of course, I did like every other business owner would do. I called up our business lawyer that we had on dial, and of course, at $150 an hour, he was more than willing to sit down and discuss with me my options. So my wife and I went and we had this discussion with them. We went through the business side of things and how we could rectify this. What can we do? Were there legal actions? And we pretty much were told legally, because if you live in Colorado, they're very liberal. And the problem is that he said we could take this to court because what they're doing is technically illegal. They can't just cancel a debt unless we have some substantiating reason to do so, such as missed payment, such as, you could go through a list of things. Changing their policy mid-loan does not give them the ability to do this, but he made it clear that if we do this, we're going to end up in Denver in the court, and the courts are very liberal, and right now the liberals are pushing anti-gun. And with that being said, he pretty much said that the case would probably be a loss, and we would spend a lot of money and lose. So then it came down to what do we do now? So he said we need to start trying to find another lender that would take us on. Well, in that kind of climate in Denver, Colorado, it was extremely difficult to even get a lender that would see our business plan and see where we were financially, let alone actually get someone to finance us. And if you try and do a major loan like that and have credit checks done, you know pretty quick that after the first 3 tries, your credit score starts getting exponentially slammed by the hard checks in order to try and get this financing. So after we had completely destroyed our credit score with hard checks, we came up to the realization that no bank was going to take us on. Okay, fast forward to 10 days before that end of that 30 days came up. I had to start to lay off our employees. I needed to start doing some things in order to save money because, of course, I'm still paying a lawyer to try and figure out what to do. And on top of that, I lost my capital, or my bank accounts were dwindling pretty fast because I didn't have the ability to roll money as easily, because the loan that I had the ability to have a credit line on it that I could pull for material and then pay back and kind of keep switching it. So I lost that abilities too. So there's a lot of things that were just kind of rolling into itself at that point in time. And when it came down to it, we were about 2 days out from the 30 days due, and I went back to the lawyer and had one more meeting with my wife, him and I. And he said we pretty much had one of two options at this point in time. We either A, had to come up with the full payment and pay off the loan, which at that time was $128,000 we did not have. We could have maybe sold our home, but there again, selling the only house we had with less than a 1 year old at that point in time was just not a feasible option. So the other option was, he said, you have to claim bankruptcy. I mean, that's realistically your only other option, which following day we ended up filing for business bankruptcy. So a lot of people get scared by that word bankruptcy, and I was too. None of us, we did not want to go through a bankruptcy. It was the worst case scenario that we could have gone through. But with the help of a lawyer, with the business lawyer that we had, he helped us through the processing pretty well. We followed the state, we went through all the stuff. And the point of this is that with the right lawyer, with the right things going in place, bankruptcy isn't as scary as you thought. We came out fairly well on it because of the situation we were in. The court actually sided with us pretty well on it. They protected our home, one of our vehicles. We ended up keeping a lot of our personal possessions because they were necessities. They weren't really luxury stuff. And so we have that ding on our credit. But overall, since then, we have proven without a doubt that we were able to maintain that. And this is where the fun part comes in, is that at that point in time, I could have said, screw it, we're not doing any more businesses, we're not getting ourselves in that position. But what I did do is I learned. And that's the biggest thing is that you need to do when you're even in this hobby, any hobby, is that when you fail at something, just because you fail at it does not mean that you need to stop doing it. It just means that you need to become smarter about it and put up more safeguards, put up more safety nets in order to protect yourself from the situations that you could get in. Nowadays, I don't sit there and overexpend what I don't have in my bank account. I use my bank account as my stopping point. If we need a new vehicle, I try to make vehicles are a little bit different. I mean, you can push those past, but overall, personal loans, any kind of credit card debt, things like that we put on ourselves, even for expansion on the farm, for personal loans to buy a tractor or put up a building or purchase the stuff we need for the farm. If I do purchase it, I do have that money sitting in the bank account at all times that I can pull and be able to pay off at any time just to stay ahead of it. And that's the things I learned. You have to be sure you have all these safeguards in place that if you're taking certain loans and certain risks, that you have the capital behind you to protect yourself. That's what I learned. And that's where I always try and stay. So, like I said, everything in this room right now, if Pokemon were to go to zero, it wouldn't affect me in any. Anyway, I just open it and have fun. It doesn't really, it's not like I have credit cards to pay this stuff off, like I'm trying to pay off credit cards that I use to purchase this stuff. This is just strictly items that I enjoy, that I have around me. They're fantastic to have. And if I want to sell them, I can sell them. If I want to sit on them forever, we can sit on them forever. But these are the things that you really need to understand when you're looking at getting into market, especially in collectibles, guys. If you do fail at something, if you pick the wrong item and you stay small, you learn the hobby, you become better at it, you become good at marketing, you understand the market, you understand investing, then you can be successful. You may fail at small scale stuff, so don't go really big at first. I know someone in my last thing said that they were just starting in the comments. And this is the things you need to realize is that start small, learn the hobby, learn the market, and find out how to be safe. Find out what you can do. Stay safe, stay small at first, take your time. There's no rush on any of this stuff. Be patient on it. That's just the other big thing I learned is that instead of rushing to be bigger, take your time, have the capital behind you, and then make those steps slowly over time instead of trying to get it all done in 2 years. Should my business has maybe expanded in 2 years? Maybe not. Maybe I should have just turned down business. But when it was there and I could do it and expand and become bigger and grow the business, why would I? Why wouldn't you just continue to still do that? And, the circumstances outside of my control are what actually caused my failure. And I understand that there's partially my fault. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and put all the blame on them. Granted, what they did was pretty low, but I also could have done things to safeguard myself in better ways. I didn't necessarily need to take out all that debt on the equipment. I could have sat there and waited, built up my coffers, and paid off the first machine, and then gone for the second machine. I could have done different things and not hired employees and kept building the money that way and just kept the machines more automated. There's different avenues and things we can do, but if you learn from those mistakes, if you learn how to better assert yourself and learn to become a better individual at this thing, that's what you need to do. That's the key to becoming successful in any kind of investment market or business. YouTube's a business. Doing these kind of investments around me, this is a business. And that's the biggest thing is that even investments, you should be looking at them as a business. How to become safe, how to become successful. So guys, like I said, I questioned on whether or not I should do this video. I questioned at how in-depth I should go with it. But to be honest with you, if you know me better and you know my story a little bit more, for the people that have been here for a long period of time, you could see why I do the things I do. It gives you a reason on why I might be more conservative than some of the other investment channels that say buy everything because everything's going to go up in price. That may be true. There's always an opportunity cost that's involved with that also. Plus, you're dealing with other market and macro economy issues that you really need to be watching when you're doing these things. Not everything can go up in a timely fashion as much as it can just go up. I mean, it's always possible for that to happen. So other than that, guys, hopefully this was some good story time. Hopefully this was some good information to just kind of see that even though you're successful doesn't mean that adversity can't happen. And even after adversity happens and you work your way through it, that you can become successful again. Just because you fail or pick the wrong thing or do the wrong thing at the beginning doesn't mean that it's a failure and you should stop. It's a failure and you should learn and take that learning experience and expand and become better. That's the keys to life. That's the keys to anything that you're going to do in investment and in business is just learn to take your adversity, take it on the chin, learn from your mistakes, and move forward. So hopefully, guys, this is some good information. Hopefully you enjoyed the story. Hopefully it gives you a little bit more of a backstory to me on maybe why I'm a little bit more conservative on things and why I really nitpick on things. And sometimes that's why I also pick on other channels or used to. I haven't done that in a long time, nor am I going to start. But I'm very conservative, and when I see some channels really throwing out some wild things, I like to point it out for the safety of the people that are watching it that, hey, it could go the other way. But I know this video's gotten a little bit long, guys. I'm going to cut it off here at 18 minutes just so you guys don't have to sit here all day. But if I did bring you some good information, of course, guys, hit that subscribe, hit that notify, and last but not least, hit that like button, guys. If we can get some likes in this video, it'd be greatly appreciated. Don't expect it to be the hottest video on earth, but at least it's here for you guys. Other than that, I will put up some good videos up over here for you. Of course, you can check out these videos afterwards and definitely have some fun checking out what's happening in the market and investing. Other than that, we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.